Have you ever wondered how the world would be without the contributions of gay individuals in our society? Let's take a moment to ponder the impact of three remarkable gay individuals who have shaped our digital world. First, we have Alan Turing, the brilliant mind who broke the German Enigma code, saving millions of lives during World War II. Turing's pioneering work in computer programming laid the foundation for the modern computing era. Then we have Timothy Donald Cook, the current CEO of Apple Inc. Under Cook's leadership, Apple has soared to unprecedented heights, setting the bar for computer technology worldwide. Lastly, we have Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI and the founder of ChatGPT, whose vision has played a critical role in the creation of this very video. These three individuals, all gay, have made substantial contributions to society, with their personal lives having no bearing on their achievements. Yet, they've had to navigate a world where some question their right to live freely. This highlights the importance of gay rights, ensuring that personal prejudices and biases do not stifle the potential and contributions of individuals based on their sexual orientation. Now let's pivot to a more complex issue, the LGBTQIA2S+ agenda. This agenda, while advocating for vital rights and recognition, encompasses a broad spectrum of identities and experiences, some of which may be misunderstood or controversial. It's essential to navigate these complexities thoughtfully, considering the potential implications and misconceptions that might arise in the process. For instance, the idea that one's sexual orientation is solely determined at birth is simplistic and overlooks the complex interplay of factors that shape our sexuality. Similarly, the claim that the LGBTQIA2S+ community is the most persecuted group in history fails to acknowledge the intricate and nuanced nature of historical oppression and persecution. While these individuals have significantly contributed to society, it's necessary to discuss the complexities of the LGBTQIA2S+ agenda. After all, understanding and respect are the bedrocks of a truly inclusive society. Is sexuality solely based on birth, or are there other influencing factors? This question often surfaces in debates about sexuality. The answer, however, is not as straightforward as some might believe. Sexuality is, in fact, a complex interplay of various factors. Let's break it down into three primary influences: inherited traits, opportunistic circumstances, and the need for intimacy. Each of these elements can significantly shape a person's sexual identity. First up, inherited traits. This is where the notion of being born that way comes into play. Picture a successful, charismatic actor. Despite having scores of women fawning over him, he consistently seeks out men for romantic relationships. His preference for men, it seems, is a fundamental part of his identity, something he was arguably born with. Next, consider opportunistic circumstances. Imagine a young, impulsive man who often finds himself on the wrong side of the law. In prison, he engages in sexual relations with men, yet when women are accessible, he identifies as heterosexual. His sexuality, in this case, appears to be influenced by his environment and the options available to him. Finally, let's delve into the need for intimacy. Consider an individual struggling with mental health issues, whose behavior may not be attractive to the opposite sex. To fulfill his desire for intimacy, he may experiment with his sexuality. His sexual identity in this scenario is driven by his emotional needs. So as we see, these three factors, inherited traits, opportunistic circumstances, and the need for intimacy, play a significant role in shaping a person's sexual identity. Each factor can have varying levels of influence depending on the individual and their circumstances. Sexuality, therefore, is not simply a matter of birth. It's a multifaceted construct influenced by a myriad of factors that can change and evolve over time. It's not black and white, but rather a complex spectrum of shades and hues. Clearly, sexuality is not simply a matter of birth, but a complex interplay of various factors. Is the LGBTQIA2S+ community the most persecuted group in history? This question invites us to delve deeper into the annals of history to unravel the complexities and nuances of human experiences. Historically, the LGBTQIA2S+ community has faced significant persecution. From the trials of Oscar Wilde in the late 19th century to the infamous Stonewall riots in the late 20th century, the struggle for acceptance and equality has been long and arduous. People were ostracized, abused, and even killed for their sexual orientation or gender identity. However, to claim that this group has faced the most persecution in history is to overlook the multitudes of other atrocities committed against different groups throughout the ages. The Holocaust, for instance, led to the systematic extermination of 6 million Jews during World War II. The Atlantic slave trade saw the brutal enslavement and displacement of millions of African people. The genocide of indigenous peoples across the globe, from the Americas to Australia, has left a lasting scar on humanity's conscience. Furthermore, the persecution of the LGBTQIA2S+ community was not an isolated phenomenon. It was part of a larger framework of societal norms and prejudices that also targeted other marginalized groups. Women, ethnic minorities, and religious dissenters have all been victims of persecution and violence throughout history. This is not to diminish the suffering of the LGBTQIA2S+ community, but to highlight the importance of viewing historical persecution in a broader context. Every group's struggle for justice and equality is unique, and each deserves recognition and respect. The LGBTQIA2S+ community's fight against prejudice and discrimination is a testament to human resilience and the enduring pursuit of equality. It is a significant chapter in our shared human history, a history marked both by profound cruelty and inspiring courage. In conclusion, the persecution of the LGBTQIA2S+ community is a significant part of history, but it's not the only one. Recognizing this does not lessen the importance of their struggle, but situates it within a larger narrative of human rights and social justice. Should we ignore the dark side of our history? This question brings us to the fourth part of our discussion. History is a vast tapestry with threads of light and dark interwoven in complex patterns. It is essential to see the full picture, not just the parts that are convenient or comfortable. Consider some of the most infamous figures in history: Adolf Hitler, Genghis Khan, and Nero. These individuals, known for their ruthlessness and unspeakable atrocities, all belong to the LGBTQIA2S+ community. Hitler was asexual, Genghis Khan was polyamorous, and Nero was bisexual. Their sexual orientations, however, do not define their actions, nor do they define the community they belong to. Just as we don't judge all heterosexuals based on the wrongdoings of some, we must apply the same unbiased judgment to the LGBTQIA2S+ community. Remembering and learning from the dark chapters of our history is crucial, not to place blame or to perpetuate stereotypes, but to understand the full scope of human potential, both good and evil. As George Santayana famously said, "Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it." Take the Roman emperors Hadrian and Nero as examples. Both were part of the LGBTQIA2S+ community, yet their actions and their treatment of loved ones couldn't have been more different. Hadrian, respected and admired, maintained a profound and respectful relationship with Antinous. His rule mirrored this respectful relationship. Nero, by contrast, was known for his domination and violence. His brutal treatment of Sporus, whom he had castrated, reflected his ruthless rule. These examples show the spectrum of human behavior, irrespective of sexual orientation. They remind us that every community, every group of people has its saints and sinners. They underscore the importance of individual accountability rather than collective blame. Ignoring our dark history is not a solution. We must acknowledge it and learn from it. By doing so, we can strive to ensure that the mistakes of the past are not repeated, and that each individual, regardless of their sexual orientation, is judged on their actions, not their identity. What differentiates the good members of the community from the bad ones? A question that is not exclusive to the LGBTQIA2S+ community, but applicable to every group in society. To answer this, let's take a historical leap back to ancient Rome and examine the love affairs of two of its most famous emperors, Hadrian and Nero. Both members of the LGBTQIA2S+ community. Emperor Hadrian, one of the most respected rulers of Rome, was known for his profound and respectful relationship with Antinous. A relationship marked by mutual respect and love, devoid of any form of dominance or violence. Hadrian's ability to maintain this respectful relationship mirrored his rule as an emperor. His reign was marked by peace, prosperity, and a well-regulated administration. He was a leader who valued the voices of his subjects, respected their rights, and upheld the law. On the other side of the coin, we have Emperor Nero, infamous for his violent and dominating behavior. His relationship with Sporus was marked by dominance and violence. Nero had Sporus castrated and treated him as a possession rather than a partner. This domination and violence mirrored Nero's rule as an emperor, a rule marked by tyranny, extravagance, and disregard for the law. So, what do these stories tell us? They show us that it's the actions of individuals, not their sexuality, that define their character. A person's sexuality does not determine whether they will be good or bad, just or unfair, kind or cruel. These are choices that individuals make, choices that reflect their character and values. In the end, it is essential to remember that every community, LGBTQIA2S+ or otherwise, has its share of both good and bad individuals. Sexuality, much like race or religion, is not a determinant of one's character. It's the actions we take, the decisions we make, and the way we treat others that truly define us. The actions of individuals, not their sexuality, define their character. So, where does this leave us? In this journey, we've traversed the lives of influential gay individuals who've made groundbreaking contributions to our society. We've explored the complex factors that shape our sexual identities and preferences. We've peered into history, revealing not only the persecutions faced by the LGBTQIA2S+ community, but also the darker side of their historical figures. We've compared the conduct of good and bad leaders within the community, highlighting the crucial role of personal values and conduct. Alan Turing, Timothy Cook, and Sam Altman are prime examples of individuals who've soared to great heights, not defined by their sexuality, but by their immense contributions to society. Their achievements remind us that we should respect and honor human rights, no matter what a person's sexual orientation may be. We've also explored the intricate factors that influence sexuality, showing that it's not just about being born this way. It's a complex dance of inherited traits, opportunistic circumstances, and the need for intimacy, all playing a part in defining our sexual identities. We've delved into history, revealing that the narrative of the LGBTQIA2S+ community being the most persecuted in history is not entirely accurate. The narrative becomes more complex when we consider that some of the most murderous leaders in history belong to this very community. We examined the stark contrasts between Hadrian and Nero, two powerful leaders within the LGBTQIA2S+ community. Their relationships mirrored their leadership styles, reminding us that it's not about who you love but how you love. In conclusion, it's clear that while we must always champion human rights and honor achievements regardless of sexuality, we must also uphold the truth. History is not a one-sided coin, and it's crucial to remember its darker side. We must hold everyone accountable for their actions. Respecting human rights and acknowledging the truth of our history, good or bad, is the path to a better future.